Good Monday, makers. My name is Dave, and this is Maker Pipe Monday. Take a look at this fantastic bike storage shed that Bill made on the side of his house. Super simple. He just used a few connectors, did a shed-style roof for the rain, and then covered it in tarp and added to the functionality of his house. Now he's got a great space for his bikes, keep them dry, and these totes. Awesome build. Bill, thanks so much for sharing. He's going to start and end Maker Pipe Monday this week, so be sure to stay tuned for his build that we're going to do last. You don't want to miss it. It's really cool. Next build is by Jeremiah, and he's thinking about putting a cage or a framework on top of his work desk. He uses it for video or photo production, and he's thinking of mounting some lights, cameras, and even some stereo speakers, some speakers on it to do his work. And the design looks great. He modeled it in SketchUp, it looks like, or whatever he used, but it looks like a fantastic design. That's going to be rigid. And then he was wondering on how to connect it to his desk. He had an idea of using these clamps, which I thought were really cool. I hadn't seen these before. They've got this round pin and then, a typical C-clamp, but a little bit different. And his idea was to cross drill the conduit and put this pin through it and then clamp it down on the desk. And that could definitely work. Another idea that I thought was maybe you could use a T-connector and grab onto that horizontal rod with the T-connector and then clamp it to the desk. Then it's a little bit more modular. And we've been working on this too. We've been trying to improve our desk for Maker Pipe Monday and other videos. And we've created a whole surround of Maker Pipe so we can mount lights and monitors and cameras to give us the workspace that we need. And it's been really useful. When we mounted the frame to the desk, we found that any movement on the desk would translate to the cameras and shake a little bit. So what we ended up doing was made the frame freestanding around the desk and then put the desk on wheels so we can move it in or out. And that's been working out good. So if you're touching the desk or any vibrations, it doesn't translate to the camera. So you might want to think about that, Jeremiah, but I hope your project is going good. Please let us know if you have any more questions. It looks like it's going to be great. Next build we've got is by Brian, and he made this great roof rack for his Jeep Grand Cherokee. Really simple. He mounted a framework, Maker Pipe framework, to his existing roof rack bars, and then did this really neat woven pattern with black webbing. Just wove everything together and then looped it around the end pipes to make this surface, and looks really neat. Great concept. You see this in like outdoor furniture, but I think this has a lot of applications and shows a lot of promise. Somebody checked in with him and said, does it cause a lot of noise when you're driving? And that was a couple weeks ago, and Brian just responded today and said, no added noise. It's not like my Jeep is silent anyway. So far so good. And the tension on the webbing, it's keeping good tension on the webbing. Oh, okay. So sorry, excuse me. Keeping good tension on the webbing might be a challenge, so that it might have stretched out a little bit with the wind. So Brian, keep us posted on that. Really interesting technique. I like it. Next one we've got is by Chris. And if you haven't seen Chris's accessories for conduit, definitely check him out. He's 3D printed a bunch of different accessories and connectors for conduit and Maker Pipe. And this one is another really helpful one. He's got these feet that slip onto the ends of conduit and gives a little bit of height here. And the problem is if you use a single T connector for like a T-foot on something, the connector is the high spot and it kind of rocks back and forward. So he created these end caps that lift it up, give two stable feet, and then the T connector sits off the ground. Really smart idea. I've also used some rubber feet to balance that out, but this looks like it works great. And if you want to print these, you can check out the link that Chris has and look at all of his other accessories. He's got some really helpful ones in addition. But Chris, really helpful as usual. Thanks so much for posting it. Here we've got a trellis for a raised bed that Mark created. He's got a pretty big 4x8 raised bed out of steel, Corten raised steel bed, and he wanted to do a trellis. And he's having a little bit of trouble making it stable. This was the first go at it. You can see it's just a couple vertical pipes, and he's got some 45 degrees, but he wanted it to be really stable in the winds. It looks like he might have some wind exposure in the area that he's in. And he came up with a few ideas. One was, drive a bunch of the conduit into the ground. He was also thinking about using the T-connectors and making a horizontal bar that kind of anchors right above the soil line to give it some stability. And then also creating like a 4-post or making a rectangle inside of the bed that gives it stability. And I think all those are great ideas. I think getting down into the ground, if you can, is a good idea to anchor it really well. That'll provide a lot of stability. And I wanted to just tell you about an alternative to driving the conduit into the ground, because that can get, the conduit can bend or mushroom out. What I've seen a lot of people use are these steel rebar pins that you can get at your big box store. They're really inexpensive, and they're basically a steel stake that has an outside diameter of 3/4 inch. And that fits perfectly inside of 3/4 inch conduit. So you can drive these into the ground, hammer them in with a sledgehammer, and then slip the conduit over, and they're not going anywhere. So definitely check those out as an option. And you can, in addition to that, brace it however you want, or make it a 4-post kind of thing. And then I've also been eyeing up rebar, number 6 rebar, which it says it has an outside diameter of 3/4 inch, same as the pins, but I haven't tried this. So if somebody tries 6-inch rebar, or number 6 rebar, excuse me, and see how it works, I'd love to hear from you. I think it could be a good material. It's a little bit harder to find because number 4 seems to be the common one, but this could be a good one to check out. So if somebody tries that out, please let me know how it works. But again, Mark, thanks for posting your build. I hope your trellis works out and you get it nice and stable. It looks like a beautiful, beautiful land there. And here's the build by Bill, number 2 for Bill. He's got a work truck, and he outfitted the whole thing with shelving and tool storage. Check it out. He's got a whole tool wall and then a bunch of storage on either side. You can tell it's purpose built because he's got storage against the ceiling for this mesh here, and he's even got his compressor mounted right here on a shelf with his hose reel. I mean, it really looks fantastic, and he was able to build it exactly to the interior of his work vehicle. So Bill, looks like a great job. I love this tool wall with all your grinders and different things. Really fantastic job. Thanks for posting it. And I hope it gives you, saves you a lot of time on the job moving forward. Good job. And that's all the builds we've got for this week. I'm going to do another comment. If you haven't checked out this interview with Alan from Alan's Gold Mining that we released on Saturday, definitely do. Alan has used MakerPipe connectors to create a wash plant for mining gold out in the desert of Nevada. And Alan's got a fantastic history and a great channel. Go ahead and look at his channel, Alan's Gold Mining. It's really popular. And we got a chance to talk with him for a few minutes and learn all about gold mining. And we're going to take that knowledge to the hills for sure and find some gold, because I think he inspired us a bit. But David Tinney gave us a comment. Thanks so much for the comment, David. And he liked the project too, said this is an amazing project. So we appreciate that comment, and go check out that video. It's been a great group of builds. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching. If you like these builds, you want to see more builds like this every week, see creative ways to use ordinary materials. We cover that in MakerPipe Monday. We'd love to have you. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.